I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. I'm here with you today to share some interesting points or some interesting issues on a particular topic. So, can you guess the topic? Uh, because I would like to give you some hints. A place where you need to work very peacefully, and a place where you need to uh, confront challenges and issues that come on your way. So you need something that is very important, and nowadays it has become a great demand. So what's the topic about that we are trying to speak in this session? Yes, if you have guessed the answer as emotional balance, that is very much true, and you are in the session. So let's welcome to the session. Emotional balance or intelligence paves the way to professional balance. You're with me today for this session. Let's get started. Now, if you have to understand this emotional balance or emotional intelligence, you should have had all the experience that were very bitter in terms of your, frustration, or in terms of, kind of like irritation, where you had to go through all these, problems which are very irritable, so irritating, and which you really do not know how to face them. And if you had already failed facing all those things, then this session is for you. Let's start, thinking about and discussing what are some keys or what are some essential traits or attributes that one needs to nurture, if at all, if she or he has to strike a balance between those two, like work or professional, world, at the same time personal or emotional, one's personal area. So these are two different, right? So you, whoever you are, could be a boss, or could be a teacher, or could be a normal employee where you help assist very important dignitaries, or a clerk, could be anyone, could be anybody for that matter, need not be a particularly person for designed and assigned for any particular task, but it could be anybody and anyone. So now this video focuses entirely on this emotional intelligence or balance that one needs to have for the intellectual balance, in his or her profession. So now, so from placement perspective, if I have to speak, and it is for upcoming engineer graduates who are going to start their career, with a great hope and great expectation. So for them, it is going to be an added advantage before one could really step into that. And for already the people who are already into the scene and situation where you're already been facing many, confronting different issues in your workplace, that it's not late, better late than never do. So and this is the right time for you to sit and discuss the issues, right time for you to sit and think about the issues. Now you can really design and work out on some strategies which can really help you, withstand the stress or that kind of trouble you are really facing in. So now you have to understand about this intelligence, which is completely emotional intelligence, or emotional health, or emotional knowledge. One is really acquire, is in serious demand, and now this person who wants this kind of emotional intelligence, that he should be able to think what is it all about. So what's that, or if you have to understand, so it is all about kind of intelligence that you need to balance and control the emotions, or to kind of like operate on your emotions, that so that you will not have an accident with any other futuristic incidents. So what happens if you have this intelligent intelligence, and what is this intelligence, emotional intelligence, and what do you have to really work on, right? So it is all, in this history that research has been conducted, ever since this concept has come into place. So this kind of history of intelligence reached the focus, right, almost, and it is part of this cognitive skills, and it has invited or attracted a lot of a portion of criticism, and it's been a greatly researched area, or no area nowadays, like one is showing interested in. So this kind of emotional intelligence is required for any person to face, for any person to confront, for any person to withstand, for any person to go through the situations. So, and no, so now we can understand this kind of emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, and in a short form we say EQ. So that means, like, it is ability to monitor your emotions, to monitor, to control, to balance your emotions in your workplaces, because absolutely there's no right for you to behave as you like in any professional and public domain. It's just because that you are also an employee, one of the employees, where you will come into contact, where talk to a person, and absolutely be with a person, and you have to continue your work. So, and you sit with a person and you discuss your work, and there started a problem, and you don't have proper support. And for example, as a fresh engineer, start you started your career in any company, and there you had to experience several traumatic situations. So what do, and you don't know, you're lost, and you're empty minded now. No, you do not know how to really face these issues. So what do? You will come, sit, and try to figure out the problem. So that is all about emotional intelligence, to be able to understand your emotions, and to be able to monitor them, to be able to control them, to be able to lead them, to be able to keep under your power, under your control. Yes, that's very important when you are supervising and monitoring your emotions. So that's where you have to really worried about it. So once you start your managing your emotions, then absolutely you will start working on that. What happens if you just don't tame your emotions, so you behave as you like, as you want, and as a result you will be slipped, or you'll be dropped in a pool of stress, where your professional and office work also gets affected because of that, and you do not know, and your physical health is spoiled, and you do not know how to tackle the problem solution to that, and you do not know how to solve your problems. It's just because you do not monitor your emotions. So that's which is why you need to understand your emotional intelligence. And 80% of work professionals are under this lag. They are under this problem, where they do not know how to balance their emotions, and as a result what happens is, like, they just misbehave with with their colleagues, and they hurt them, and in turn they get hurt also, because of their words, because of their behavior, deeds. So which is why the knowledge is very essential. The knowledge is required for any person to understand what he is into, what he is like, and what he has to perform, and not only of work, house chores, but also he or she should be able to understand, to rule and guide his emotions. Otherwise, he or she is going to suffer a lot in entire, professional life. So and you don't observe some norms and ethics, and as a result you will have to face and pay a great price for that. So now, drawing from different sources, a simple definition of intelligence, emotional intelligence, is something, is to monitor your own emotions as well as emotions of others. So, what is the meaning of this? Why is it so significant? Why is that you have to monitor your own emotions at the same time? The emotions of others, the emotions of other people. It's because their reactions you have to handle. Their responses, you need to know how to handle them. And in case if they tell you something very important or something they get annoyed and you're not very happy about, and how do you react to them? Guarding others' emotions, also monitoring them, and you should be able to know how to talk to them, how to respond to them, in a way that they do not really, pressurize you for more thing. And you should know how to tame your emotions and how to really rule your emotions. So that's all about your emotional intelligence, and you should be able to know. You should be able to respond to others and how you really tackle. So that must be very taxing for you to go through. So now this session will really help you withstand the kind of pressure you're going through, and this will really help you monitor your emotions, right? So emotional intelligence is what we use when we empathize with our co-workers, have deep conversations about your relationship with others. So it is beyond your intelligence of the issues that you are really struggling in. It's all about empathizing with others. It's all about empathizing with co-workers, having very good deep conversations about relationships. So why do you need this kind of empathy in workplace? It's because you are there to understand others. You will place your foot in others' shoes and try to understand the problem through their perspectives. So when you do that, definitely you are going to have superb control over your emotions, and also you would know how to respond to them, how to tell them, how to cool their temper in case if he or she is going to be very hot-headed person. So you should be able to empathize. Only then you'll be able to understand their problems. Until and unless you understand them, how do you really understand their problems? You will not lend your ears to their problems anymore. It's just because you don't empathize with them. So it's up to you now how you're really facing them and how you're really entertaining them. So when you have deep conversations about relationships with others, you should realize it. You should realize the importance of it. And also that's why you have to you have to kind of like understand and empathize their situation. So that's very important. So what does it do? It allows us to connect with others, understand others better, and live a more authentic, healthy, and happy life. So what happens is we will be able to connect with others when we know how to monitor our emotions and how to really respond to others' emotions. Then we will also know how to manage them and how to respond to them. So and that in a way gives us very authentic, healthy, and happy life. So that is very important. It is all about that. So now what is this emotional quotient and this kind of intelligent intelligence quotient. So you should know emotional quotient is all about identifying emotions, okay, and relating to others. Okay. On the other hand, this kind of IQ, okay, intelligent quotient is all about cognitive intelligence. It is completely to do with your mind, your thoughts. Whereas emotional quotient or emotional intelligence is all to do with understanding your emotions, understanding your temper, understanding your mind, understanding your feeling, understanding your thoughts, understanding your temper, understanding your, everything. So the emotional quotient is all about it. Whereas intelligence quotient is, on the other hand, is, how you think, how you decide, what you say, what is your thought process, and how is that you really work on that. So there's a vast gap between the two. So when you do that, you can really master your situations or problems. Next, it is also the type that is most often measured through testing and estimated through things like grades. So sometimes it's also tested, in the form of grades. You're graded for that, you're evaluated for that. And that's why when you appear for any campus interview, so one of these HR questions is like, how you can really, it's all about your attitude and behavior, how you really face this, or how you confront this kind of issue, and what's your perspective on that. And in case if you were to be the person who has to experience, then how do you really behave, and all these things, right? All if cases, questions, situational round, all these are truly needed for you to kind of, for you to think about yourself. And the examiner would certainly estimate, kind of, come up, estimate on kind of, come to a conclusion, and he or she comes to know about it. So it is also the type that is most often measured through testing and estimated through things like grades. Okay, so that's very important. Now what is the social intelligence that you all need? Again, it is very closely related to emotional intelligence. So social intelligence is like, how you sit with the people, how you mingle with them, and how you say, and what is the knowledge that you require, intelligence that is required for being social, for being sociable with others in any profession. So in any social context, Hannah, what is a type of mindset you need to have, what is the kind of intelligence you need to have when you are, with others, among others, being with with others. So the knowledge that you really gain, the knowledge that you really have, social intelligence, it is all to do with that. And if you have this kind of social intelligence or emotional intelligence, then you're almost out of danger. It is almost out of, the place. You're completely secure. You're completely, you know understood completely. Like you're almost in the safe zone. That which is why you nowadays, like many workshops are conducted, this theme, emotional intelligence. So especially working women also, and they face several issues. It's all have to do, with navigating or social or emotional situations, right? So what's the role of emotional intelligence in psychology? So what is this kind of, like, psychologists are trying to find out the gap, the people who really have these issues, and what is that they need. And finally they figured it out, saying that, oh, it could be the emotional intelligence that they are really in need of, and how they have to possess. So that is why emotional intelligence in psychology filled a gap, in psychology in that streams. Now, let us understand what are some components or elements of AI, emotional intelligence. So now we need to take, very standard and very genuine balanced criteria, or for them, and there are some elements that go under this, emotional intelligence. So, what are they? According to Daniel Goleman, self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills, right? So, we'll understand what are those things now. Point number one, self-awareness. So what is this self-awareness? Why is it really playing a role in emotional intelligence, or in this concept of emotional intelligence? Self-awareness is knowing ourselves, knowing us, knowing about us, our feelings, our emotions, our mindset, our reactions, our temperament, whether it is good temperament or bad temperament. How is that we are trying to face that? So having that awareness about our self, original self, will help us monitor our behavior, will help us how to speak. That will it will tell us, or it will guide us in in our speech. We will come to know how to talk, how to speak, and how to how to really balance it, right? So self-awareness is very important. So when we have this kind of self-awareness, then definitely we will be aware of others, other professionals. So if you are going to be a software engineer or graduate, definitely you are going to you have to be aware of yourself in your work. So what are your positive strengths, and what are your weaknesses? Okay. What are your capabilities, and what you are really good at, what you are really not good at, all that. So when you do that, definitely you will be able to face them so easily. And now workplace challenges will not be very difficult when you are aware of yourself, and then you'll be able to be aware of the others. So that is more important. So self awareness is very essential. And then self regulation is like how you regulate your emotions, how you regulate your conduct, how you regulate your responses. So when you are aware of yourself, then you will be able to know how to self-regulate. And part of this self-awareness also is one important thing is that, like, it's like if when you are good at something, then you will work out on that. If you are not very good at, and if you are very weak about it, then definitely you are not going to it's like you are not going to apply or grab opportunities where you're really good at. So the place where you are not really good at is something that will not give you any chance to grow, okay, improve yourself, improve your personal health. So that is why it is very important to know why it is very important to have this kind of knowledge of self-awareness. And also self-regulation is like you will regulate your mind, regulate your body, regulate your emotions, because that we are dealing with this concept emotional intelligence, like regulating, self-regulating emotions, how balanced way, not to be too strong, not to be too weak, not to be too low, not to be too dull. It's like self kind of let me give you an example. Like you tune your mind, you train your mind to with certain rules and regulations, principles, what to do, what not to do, do's and don'ts. So when you know this, you can really strike a perfect balance between the two. Next, motivation is also important. And if you know how to motivate yourself, then definitely you will, even in at at discouraging times, you would definitely know, and you will not be discouraged. You will not be you will not be down with all these things. Whether you are whether you are a capable person or not, it doesn't matter. But all it matters is whether you are motivated. Only then you'll be able to improve your capacities. So you will work on your capabilities. So first you need to be a motivated worker. You have to self-regulate, my dear listeners. I'm going to tell you, nobody will sit with you and nobody will help you out with this kind of behavior. You need to take a chance. You need to take initiative and start working on that. Motivate yourself well to take up opportunities. Motivate yourself well to learn something. Motivate yourself well to acquire something. And even if that is very disinteresting, and you're disinterested and you're not very much interested, but then like you like to apply for that, but then like you understand that there are no advantages for that, whether to go for it or not. But then when you realize the worth of applying something, then will motivate, even if you're fall short of it, and even if you're not capable of taking up such challenges and issues, you will self motivate. You don't demotivate yourself, but you will motivate yourself. Only if you motivate yourself, then you will be able to motivate others also. So in any software company, in any company where you go and work, your self motivation should be there. Otherwise you can't be a self confident person. I mean that you should, okay, whether you're self confident or not, you have to show that kind of confidence in what you do, in what you take up, in what you face, in what you really learn, right? So what you show, what you display. So this kind of self regulation, self awareness will help you have this kind of motivation. It's very important. And fourth one is empathy, being empathetic. That's what we've been discussing. Being empathetic, or being empathetic always is very good, but then like you cannot easily compromise with others for every single thing. It's because you have to help, on you have to acknowledge others only with certain limitations, otherwise you will lose the control over it. And also empathy is something that will really enable you understand the problems of others, and you will be able to provide a solution only if you offer this kind of problems, okay? And only if you are able to uh, uh, you know uh, have this kind of pity for others, and you place yourself there in that situation, then definitely it will work out. Definitely you will understand what is the need, what is the emergence of it, what is the need of it. So all that will help you a good worker, a good boss, or a good manager. So being empathetic is very important. Otherwise you will deny others problems. You will be least bothered to take up or handle these issues. You'll be least bothered to manage others problems. So how will you manage if you are not going to do it, right? So as a matter of fact, grow or nurture kind of this kind of empathy, and then you will definitely be one kind, right? So and also this will help you encourage others. This will help you encourage your own growth also. Very important. And then social skills, another one is very, you should have the social skills, where you need to speak, where you should not speak, how to grow a relationship for with others, and for some organizational gain. You should know how to build up this kind of social skill, and you have to interact with everyone. And also there are some norms in the society where you have to do it, in any company that you have to, where you need to be very cordial, where you need to be very strict, where you need to be very serious. And having learned all that, also you need to have this kind of social skills, where you manage your self well, and in proper order, with others. So we have to have all these things for any successful gain or profit. So self-awareness is very important, self-regulation is important, motivation is important, empathy is there, it should be there, and social skills are also very important. Now let's see what are some dimensions of emotional intelligence. So what are some four dimensions? Let us understand. Perceiving emotion, point number one. Perceiving emotion, next, number two. Using emotions to facilitate thoughts. Using emotions to facilitate thoughts. Three, understanding emotions. Understanding emotions. Four, managing emotions. Number one, perceiving emotion means to be able to perceive, to be able to understand, to be able to, be aware, and to be able to have this kind of, emotions, right? That is one. And then using emotions to facilitate thoughts, requiring, in need of a proper emotion, in need of a proper thought, in need of a proper, kind of like root, in need of proper, it's like, a very responsible role. Using emotions to facilitate. I know good emotions always help you in a better way, but bad emotions ruin your life. And using emotions to facilitate, to plan such a good thing. So only emotional balanced persons are good decision makers, because they know they will not take any decision out of any extreme emotion. So you should be able to perceive them. I should be able to understand, to facilitate thoughts. Okay. Next, number three, understanding them emotions. Like what is it? How far have you gone? And is it really difficult to manage? Or is it really needed to, say something, or it is not needed to say something? So you have to understand your own emotions, your capacities, emotional problems, have to be understood by. So that is very important, right? Managing emotions are also important. How are you really managing them? Are you using it in an appropriate way? In any workplace, in any work professional space, you should not use your emotions just like the way you like, because that is not acceptable, it's not at all social. And because I know, even if you are frustrated, you should know how to handle the question. Even if that is the person is irritating you, you should know how to respond in a controlled way. You should know how to give a proper response or reaction. So you cannot use it in a negative way. It's just because you don't like the person. It's just because you don't like others. No, it is all about that. No, you have to understand your emotions, and that is why you have to learn. You have to understand managing emotions, right? Next, key skills in the emotional intelligence framework. What are some key skills that are required? So we've discussed, right? Self-awareness, self-regulations, emotional understanding, all that. Now we'll break down the self-awareness into simpler thoughts. And there are some more points that can be categorized under all these things: self-awareness and self-regulation. So under point number one, self-awareness, emotional awareness is very important. Emotional awareness should be there. You have to understand your emotions, accurate assessment, and self-confidence. You should have all these things. Self-regulation should be there. Under that, trustworthiness, that should be there. Okay, conscientiousness in the sense like the ability to perform well in any work that you really take up, the ability to perform well in your own task, performance. So that should be, adaptability should be there, to be able to adjust to any situation, to be able to adjust any kind of place, more important. And also adaptability is something that that's very required, and innovativeness, right? To be able to innovate, to be able to create, to be able to come up with good creative work, needed. Number three, self motivation. Under that, achievement drive. You have to self motivate yourself to achieve the drive. Commitment. Also, make sure you motivate yourself that you're committed to particular thing, and also make sure you take initiative to grab any opportunity. And then optimism, whether uh, kind of like having hopefulness for that particular thing, and not lost in disappointments. That knowledge is also needed. Next, four, empathy is very important. Under that, service orientation and developing others, political awareness. We should be able to provide the information. How you can really service orient others. Okay, and also how you develop others, and whether you are able to encourage others, whether you are able to sharpen their skills in case you are the person who has to monitor a team, and whether you are able to political awareness is also important, and then you will know how to behave well with them. Like social skills are also very important. Whether you can influence others, whether you are able to get influenced by good behavior or not. So influence comes under social skills. And then communication, whether you're able to communicate your right as well, whether you're able to communicate your ideas or thoughts very effectively, whether you're able to communicate your information properly, that is required. Next, leadership. You have to have this leadership qualities also, otherwise you cannot run a team, you cannot manage a team. You have to have that kind of strong hold and learn about this leadership a lot, and also should be aware of this change catalyst, how you can really change certain things, to be able to provide tools when there is a change that's going to take place. Next, conflict management. Also should be aware of this conflict management, how you can really resolve issues in any conflict. Okay, so I want all of you who are listening to me to have all these kinds of attributes, right? So let us brush up once again about the topics or the point that we've discussed. We discussed in this session. We understood what is emotional intelligence. We understood how it benefits us. We try to understand the distinction between the emotional quotient and the intelligent quotient. And we saw how social intelligence is related to emotional intelligence, and also we saw what is how the role of emotional intelligence in psychology. And then we also discussed components or elements of emotional intelligence. Also we looked at four dimensions of emotional intelligence. Also we tried to look at key skills in the EI framework. So having explained all that, I hope now you will be a person with great emotional intelligence and would certainly reach your heights in your work and work professions. So and also you should be able to manage several conflicts in any workplace, my dear listeners, I tell you, because when you understand how well you are performing in your work issues, then you will be able to show your talents also. Because in many professions, people do not know, or they are not aware of this emotional intelligence, which is why they get frustrated, and they show this kind of frustration on others also. And as a result, what happens, the others will not be able to give the input that you require, and you are not able to manage them, and you are not able to talk to them properly because of various issues that you have. And what do you really lack? You lack emotional intelligence. How appropriately you have to use your emotional intelligence. So at the same time, a person who is in charge of it, who is aware of it, definitely will be able to not that particular person, okay, in charge of any particular idea. Okay, that person is very short tempered, or is easily annoyed by different situations, with people. Because of that, people suffer a lot. So which is why you have to realize the fact that people are least bothered of your work, but people are more bothered how you really show your attitude. So what lacks in today's professions is this emotional intelligence. Lack of emotional intelligence will lead to lack of competence in any organizations. So learn and be aware of this emotional intelligence. So, and also I want to say that it is a very difficult task for a person who do not understand his own emotions, and who do not understand how to manage his or her problems. Or you're working in a company where you are given a lot of work, and and you should know how to be very sociable, and how to really share your work with others and get support from them, and also how you can really resolve the issue. This kind of awareness should be there, not only about your own self also, but having the awareness of others behavior. So this will help you in different ways. So many people are full of capacities, many people are full of talents, many people are full of intelligence, but the only thing, but a few people have this kind of emotional intelligence. They may have subject intelligence, but many people do not have this emotional intelligence, which is why you have to realize the fact that this is more important. This is very important to get updated, with different nuances. To get, to be aware of your own emotions, in order to be a perfect, a good person who can really manage his or her emotions properly. And that's the reason you have to show interest in upgrading yourself in different situations. So, and also you should be able to know how to manage conflicts, how to manage your workplace frustrations. So you should know how to how to realize the fact, how you can really improve your capacities. So that's all required for today. In today's competitive world, people are hiring based on, many people based on their social skills also. That is why soft skills are required. It's not just your your improvement, just not your your work improvement that you really show. You should also know how to use your emotions. And 90% of people in workplace do not have, they don't have this kind of emotional intelligence. So which is why in this session I want to reiterate that emotional intelligence will definitely pave way to the success that you really desire for. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.